Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 207, Baby Driver from 2017. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode's brought to you by Jacobs Audiology. Healthy hearing has a significant impact on your quality of life. Jacobs Audiology recognizes that, and your ability to communicate with your friends, family, neighbors, work companions, and other individuals in your community provides a critical link in maintaining the independence and satisfying lifestyle you choose. Shout out to Jacobs Audiology.
Well, shout out to Jacobs Audiology, and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. After the break, we'll be talking about Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. But first, Joe, we have to do the intro. So extracurricular activities, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
I've been watching lots of sports. The Steelers were on a bye week this week, so I got to watch
Vikings too. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I got to watch Red Zone in its full glory. 7 hours of commercial-free football started now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that Scott Hansen was on the call. Okay.
Yes, because normally the Steelers play at 1, so I get to miss all. And 1 o'clock, Red Zone is the channel that plays every touchdown of every game, so it just plays every football game.
And you are hitting all the talking points right now.
Yeah, while I was explaining it, if somebody doesn't know what Red Zone is.
I know.
And so,
but you're just saying everything that they say, and I'm just like, yeah,
yes.
I get it. I get it.
So it was very enjoyable because, normally Steelers
guys,
play
we're in the
at 1.
Octo box. We got Joe on the top left. We got me in the bottom left.
First Octo box of the day.
Oh my God! With the 6 games, and then me for some reason, and then the studio for some reason. Look at that. All right, sorry, go ahead.
No, so I got to watch it. It was good. It was just like a chill day doing that, but we watched some movies. We took your and my coworker's advice and watched the original Candyman.
Cool.
It was good. We really liked the new one. The old one was I didn't expect it to be from the 90s. I thought it was from the 70s or 80s.
Well, it's from 91, so it's essentially an 80s movie.
It is, but it definitely feels like we had crested into the 90s in it. I was hoping for something a little bit more campy. I did like it though. I thought it was pretty good. But the new one I thought was just really good. It's just modern movie. They just work better, right? Looks wise and.
You're just a basic bitch. That's all it is.
Yeah, CGI, things like that. But I mean, hey man, I love campy movies and stuff too. But I was like, okay, cool. I liked both of them. So that was fun. And then we also watched we watched Malignant, which was a wild ride, as you guys
rules. Yep. Mm-hmm.
As you guys said. It does rule. It was really awesome. You were right. Go into it knowing nothing. It just was very surprising the whole time. Oh, and my friend got married, so we went to my friend's wedding on Saturday. It was in Mystic, Connecticut, right down the street from Mystic Pizza.
Cool.
And it was beautiful. It was outside, and then they had this outside tent thing there. It was really cool. And they one of the things that they did, which I thought was a really, really cool idea, was they had an official wedding after party at the hotel.
Okay.
Which I hadn't heard about before, but after the reception, everybody went back and they had rented out some of the conference rooms in this hotel, and they had indoor, because it's it's getting chillier here, so they had cornhole inside and a buffet of snacks of soft pretzels and pizza and all kinds of stuff like that. Post reception food, I was like, this is an awesome idea, and a bar. So it was really cool, really smart idea. I highly recommend it. That was great, because when usually weddings end at 8 or 9, and all those people are here visiting and stuff like that. So it's a cool thing to have a place for everyone to continue to gather if they want or not. And it was in the hotel they were staying at, so it was comfortable for everyone. They could go change and come back down. It's pretty cool. I liked it.
Cool.
How about you?
As previewed last week, I saw Dune in theaters, and I loved it. And I do want to take credit for the sequel being greenlit because... So I checked with Walt, because I was like, with A-List, you get 3 a week. And I'm like, does AMC still give money to Warner or Universal or whoever if I don't go. He's like, yeah, I think so. He's like, I think that it's just like gross ticket sales, whether the butt's in the seat or not. So I bought an extra ticket to Dune. So that extra $15, I'm sure that I didn't spend, that AMC spent or whatever, that they probably sent like.
Wait, so you went to a different theater, but you used your
No,
ticket?
no.
So
So
this.
A-list, you get 3 a week, right? You get 3 tickets per week. And so I saw Dune at like 6 o'clock on Thursday. Then I also bought a ticket, quote unquote, bought a ticket, cost me nothing, for the 10 o'clock showing. I think the opening week or whatever, AMC takes like 80 or 90% of the box. So like 2 or 3 of those dollars go to Warner. But I just wanted to give a little bit of extra push.
One
and
extra
it worked.
stamp. Yeah. One extra vote. I like it. That's a cool
And
idea.
it worked because Dune 2 greenlit coming out in 2 years, October 20th, I think, 2023.
We appreciate
so
Thank you.
You are welcome to everyone.
Yeah.
But Dune rules. It's awesome. I'm sure it's great at home, but man, in the theater with the big screen,
I'm
really
so torn now.
Okay, I have a huge TV, as you know. I have a good sound system. I don't have a great sound system, but like, I am so glad that I saw this in the theater because it's awesome. Like, it's visual. I mean, like, that's what they've been saying. I don't want to sound like a film snob, but like the sound specifically with this, I'm just like, it's just like overwhelmingly, it's cool. It's great. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I think Dune's awesome. So go see Dune if you can.
Yeah, so I'm torn because I wanted to watch it and it's on, HBO Max or whatever, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, for another 3 weeks or whatever, like for the month. Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch it, and then my buddy Adam went to go see it in theaters, came out of the theater and was like, go see that in a theater only, And then now you say this, and I'm like, oh, should I watch it at home or should I just cave and go to the theater and see it?
I mean,
probably cave and go to the theater and see it.
Like, yeah.
I get it.
You've been in the theater. It's not like, I don't know if it's worth like somebody who's like, hesitant to go to the theater, but you've been back to the theater a bunch. And so like, I would say go. I mean, it's great. I think the movie's great. It's very long. It's kind of slow. It's only half a movie really, like, cause the book is 900 pages and this is basically the first 400 or 500 pages.
Okay.
So I loved it though. I'm glad that's part 2 is coming. So that's very cool.
That is very awesome.
I also on Sunday saw another movie in theaters. I saw The Last Duel, which is the Matt Damon, Adam Driver, Jodie Comer movie set in like the 1300s, which is also great.
Is it? Cool.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like a Rashomon story, like different perspectives. Written, I think, by Affleck and Damon and Nicole Holofcener, who's written a couple of great other movies, and Affleck's in there. It's really, really good. So The Last Duel, also great in theaters. And then tomorrow, as we record this, I'm going to go see Last Night in Soho, which is the new Edgar Wright movie. We're talking about Baby Driver today. So that's
Everybody's
on the brain.
About it.
Yeah, so that's very exciting. But, So here, I sort of buried the lead. Also, in the meantime, we also recorded an episode of the Rocky Maivia Picture Show with Nate. That'll be out. He says probably in November, maybe in December, but we'll let you know when it's coming out.
He said between Black Friday and Christmas is what he thinks, or not then, is what he also said.
Because I think it's normally like the 3rd Saturday or the 4th Saturday. He's got like a very specific release schedule. He started a new job, and so he's trying to get that under wraps or whatever. And so maybe end of November, maybe early December, but a nice little holiday bonus for you. And we'll let you know when it's out.
And plus, it was great. We talked to Nate, and we talked to his buddy...
Benno.
Benno? Yes, Benno was his name.
Benno was his name.
I know. I did the same thing as soon as it came out of my mouth. That's why my brain just stopped again, because I had to sing the fucking exit of it. and they were really fun, and we talked about Fate and a lot of stuff that we talk about on here, but it was cool because Benno is a big fan of the Fast and the Furious franchise. So it was a good conversation. I really liked it. And obviously it's great to talk to Nate. You guys know that.
Of course. So that was cool. So I buried the actual lead. So on Saturday I was going to do another horror marathon, and I was through I watched 4 movies, and they were all kind of good. None were really bad. There was one that I really liked called The New Kids, which is directed by the guy who did the first Friday the 13th. And it stars Lori Loughlin, Aunt Becky, and a dude who quit acting after this movie, and then also James Spader as the villain. It's kind of a couple different high school, I told Brian it's a high school movie, he should do it on his podcast. There's a couple different kinds of movies kind of mashed up, and then all of a sudden it just becomes really mean, really kind of cruel. It's just why are these high school kids? It's a really kind of nasty, intense sort of movie. Yeah, The New Kids. So I don't know. It's not great, but I enjoyed it. And I was just this is darker and, more violent and stuff than I expected this to be. But yeah, that was the takeaway. So I'm watching these movies, and Bob, my Lottery Pod co-host, which we did one of those on Sunday as well.
Cool.
He texts, and he's just to our little group thread, and he's just I have tickets to see the Mountain Goats tonight in Jersey City, and I don't know if I want to go, and I have a lot of work to do, and blah, blah, blah.
The Mountain Goats are the what? The minor league team?
No, it's a band, the Mountain Goats.
Okay.
And he's like, I have tickets to this concert, and, my friend bailed on me, and I don't really feel like going or whatever. And I'm like, he's like, do any of you want to go? And I'm like, I only know 2 of their songs. I'm not the person to bring, but if you can't find anybody, I'll go with you. Because Bob came with me to Julian Baker's show, and I was just like, look, I'm happy to repay the favor or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, actually, you know what? I know that Walt, past guest of the show, Walt Hickey, I just mentioned him about the tickets.
Yes.
I'm like, I know that he loves the Mountain Goats, and he lives in Manhattan or Brooklyn or something. So I'm like, let me see if Walt's going, like if he wants tickets. So I DM Walt on Twitter, and I'm just like, hey, my friend has 2 tickets to the Mountain Goats. I think you love them. This might be wildly off base. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. He's like, no, actually, I'm going to the show, and I have 2 tickets myself that I can't get rid of. I was like, oh, enjoy the show.
Okay.
So I messaged Bob, and I'm just like, hey, man, like I tried to get rid of it, and he laughed or whatever. And then he's like, all right, fuck it, let's just go. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I messaged Walt, I'm like, hey, I'm going to the show. He's like, all right, cool. And so like I get there, and he's like, hey, I brought Kim Basine, also past guest at the show. He's like, let's get a drink afterwards. I'm like, yeah, cool.
Cool.
So we see the show. The show is awesome. And then me and Bob go to Barcade in Jersey City, and we meet up with Walt and Kim, and it was awesome. It was like, internet friends in real life. We talked about the Fast and Furious. We talked about, the stuff that they're working on now.
And they're good people, too. Yeah.
Because we've been talking to Walt for, he was on Cage Club like 3 years ago, maybe. Like, it's been a while, and Kim was on this a couple of years ago, too, right? So, like,
yeah, it has been a while.
They've been people that we've sort of known for a while, but Kim was like, man, he's like, it's rare that I get to talk about something I'm so passionate about, in a way like that. So, like, he's like, I really had a blast in your show. I'm like, hey, man, come back whenever. So, it was very cool. I did not tell you that because I wanted to save it for here, but
that's awesome. I think they're
Walt and Kim.
They're 2 of my favorite Twitter follows that I see just post, like, cool pop culture shit, right? Like Kim's things. There's like a few people on Twitter that I really like that just post awesome shit. And it's just Walt, Kim, and Darren Rovell that post like, this is a game ticket to a game that you remember from sports and a weird bet and stuff. Like they're all awesome. So follow them on Twitter if you don't.
So that was Saturday, and then Sunday, like I said, Bob came over, we did a lottery pod, and then we went to see The Last Duel, and that was it. So yeah, good week. Unexpected, surprising week that I did not expect to see a concert or meet internet friends, but things work out. Oh, and then I watched The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum The Fly, and it rules. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? I'm assuming
I have seen it. I have seen it when I was in like high school. I remember watching it by myself in my room and just like him going crazy, and yeah, I remember this.
Well, I didn't expect it to be like a love story. Because it's a love story, and like it's him and Gina Davis, and they get married in real life a year after the movie comes out, and they were married for like 4 years. So like the chemistry on screen is real because like they were in love with each other. I don't know if they had met before or whatever, but it's great. And like I was talking to fan favorite Garrett Smith. He's like it's weird that like the best love story is also like this gruesome horror movie that blah blah blah. And, like I won't spoil like what happens in it, but it's like yeah, man, like it's this Cronenberg mashup that like the end is what I expected the whole movie to be, but then there's this whole love story. I'm like, it's great. So
I just remember him sitting in like a lab, like on a chair, going crazy.
Yeah, that's all I've got. So that was extracurricular activities, but we have an email, we have a Patreon page, toofast2forever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, West Hampton, Christian Larson, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden, Renato Titonato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you for supporting us at the $5 a month level or above. Again, going to keep saying until the new lap happens. New lap coming up soon. If you want to get a movie pick in for that lap, another pick for next year. Know the themes, early access episodes, bonus episodes, toofast2forever.com.
So I'm so already mentally in the new theme of the new lap. Like I was like, oh, what am I watching, right? So like I go to the nice website that Joey has set up for me to tell me what movie we're recording and when. And I'm like, Baby Driver, cool. Like, like this weekend. And so so I see Baby Driver and I'm like, who is in Baby Driver that relates to this lap? And I'm like, oh, we're still in lap 9.
Yeah.
But like I was like thinking like, is there somebody that like is like a minor character? Because like it's kind of an ensemble cast, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, who am I forgetting was in Baby Driver? And I'm like, oh no, I'm just in the wrong lap mentally. So I was laughing about that when I was.
This is our last official pit stop. We have one more bonus episode for this lap that's going to come on the Patreon, but this is our last public pit stop for the Modern Car Movies lap. I mean, we'll do this kind of lap eventually again because there's still so many movies that we've not gotten to yet. But yeah,
it was just funny to me. It was cracking.
Good job, Brain.
Thank you.
We have an email address, family@cageclub.me. No emails today. Nothing really, I don't think, from Twitter. I know that Lane is still catching up, and he's been mulling over some thoughts, so check out Lane's Twitter, and we're, retweeting and replying and stuff like that, so check that out.
Yeah, he's cracking me up. Thanks, Lane, for listening, and it's fun to hear you.
We'll
And,
get to this
also,
eventually.
he had like a tweet. He had a tweet that was like, oh man, I have thoughts from laps ago. I wonder if I should send them in. And the answer is probably yes, but probably no, because like we don't ever remember what we said.
If they're thoughts about the movies, yes. If they're thoughts about what we said, no.
Yeah. Because, like, you know that I don't remember stuff that Joey said last time.
And I have a good memory, and I don't even remember most of these things. So.
But yeah, we'll get some emails sometimes. You probably heard them, like from Wells or something, or Wes, and they'll be like, hey, remember
Wells is an interesting case, because Wells is like, I don't even know what these notes mean. I'm just like, all right, then how the fuck are we supposed to know what you're... Come on, Wells.
Also true. But I'm saying, like, yeah, interesting thoughts. Probably not going to remember what they're about, but yeah.
Email family@cageclub.me or Too Fast, Too Forever, just about everywhere if you want to tweet at us or Instagram us or whatever.
Yes.
We also have a store, toofast2forever.shop. But Joe, on the streets, news about the Fast and Furious. I have 3 things, all kind of small, but is there anything that you have noticed or you have seen or you've heard about in the last week about news about the Fast and Furious?
No, I was scrubbing through all those news articles about the Fast and the Furious, but there was not new ones, so they were all just like thoughts about F9 and stuff. So.
Well, the most important thing is that the Fast and Furious Spy Racers, The Rise of Shifter, is now available for pre-order on Xbox.
You can pre-order it? Did you pre-order it yet?
No, not yet. I think it comes out like maybe next week.
What
maybe
if it's
this
sold
week,
out?
As this episode, it's a digital thing. I can just.
What
get
if
the
it's
digital
sold
thing.
out?
Man, I mean, I gotta go pre-order, I guess.
You should get. Hey man, if you're buying 2 tickets to Dune, you should at least pre-order fucking Rise of Shifter.
Hey man, the Dune tickets don't cost me anything. If I could use A-list to buy Rise of Shifter, that's fine. That's a different
I thought this
thing.
was coming from the Cage Club credit card. That's what I just assumed, right?
I wish there's a Cage Club credit card. Now that Mike and Dan are in the Variety article. Yeah, Brian has a credit card. Don't tell him this. It's under his name. It's affecting his credit score. He doesn't know that. Hi, Brian.
You put an EIN, he opened the Cage Club is under his social security number.
Yeah, so man, he can charge all he wants because it's no ties to me at all. So
perfect.
Yeah, Rise of Shifter comes out soon. I think early November. So out soon. Yeah. Now. I don't know. We'll do an episode on it. I hope it's good. I really hope it's good.
I'm curious to see how it goes.
Go to Echo's house. Go to Echo's house.
What were we? Rachel and I were just watching something, and she was like, and she just comes up with "Go to V's house, drive to." Like we were watching.
No, we talked about it on here. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, something that you were watching for the show, I think, or something you talked about on the show.
Okay, good. I already talked about it then, but yes, drive to V's house.
In adorable news, Vin Diesel walked Meadow Walker down the aisle when she got married. Stand-in for Paul. So Vin walked her down the aisle, which was very sweet.
Super cute.
Tweeted about that. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cute.
And then there was a Vanity Fair article with The Rock where he's basically like, I'm not running for president, but I don't know anything about politics, but it's like, all right, guy.
The whole Young Rock show is a pitch for him to become president.
That's literally what it's about.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying it's also like, hey guys, it's not that weird. Watch this show about it. So
yeah, that's all I got. I mean, there's no actual news about these movies.
No.
I was trying to find out, when we did Hobbs and Shaw last week, I was trying to find out about Hobbs and Shaw 2, and it's just like, the last update was like I think it was early pandemic, like The Rock did like an Instagram or Facebook Live in like April 2020, April of last year.
I think we watched it.
And was like, hey man, it's coming. And it's just like, okay. And like, there's been nothing in the last year and a half. So I want that. I feel like that's the next one. We keep saying like, that's the next one we're going to know about, I think probably, but
yeah,
maybe not. I don't know. But Joe, the last thing to do before we take a break, the Too Fast, Too Furious minutes. Minute 33, the Brian O'Connor School of Driving.
Shit. Yeah, bro, man, he like them apples. Show off. That's the Brian O'Connor School of Driving right there, baby. Crazy ass white boy. Oh, shit.
So in this minute, the race continues down Alligator Alley. Ryan speeds ahead and pops an e-brake 180, driving in reverse. In front of Roman, he flips Roman off as he races past other cars on the highway. Very, very reckless, very dangerous. Brian pulls another 180 as he, Roman, and the other racers exit the highway as one of them crashes into what I looked up, the impact attenuator filled with water. A man in maybe Little Haiti, I don't know, Joe has some information about that, exits a convenience store and says hello to fellow patrons outside. The racers speed past this now befuddled man as he crosses the street. And a group of men probably sitting across the street, I don't know, love the show as the minute ends. So half this minute is the end of the stretch of the race that we've been talking about for 3 minutes now.
Yes.
And the other half is maybe Little Havana, maybe Little Haiti. I don't know where these people are, but what did you find? Because you said you spent like 45 minutes,
driving,
quote unquote, driving around Miami. So what do you got?
People in Miami, there's definitely a place that is referred to as Little Haiti in like local news articles and stuff like that. But I don't think it's actually defined on Google Maps. Little Havana is defined on Google Maps.
Okay.
When they drive by the guy, that is actually in the Little Havana neighborhood. But Little Haiti's like not on a map. Do you get the weird thing that I'm trying to say here? Colloquially, people call part of Miami Little Haiti, but on the map it doesn't say Little Haiti. But on Google Maps, Little Havana actually exists as a neighborhood.
Okay, because in the movie, Carter Verone says go to Little Haiti.
Yes,
but
they're in Little Havana at the end of this. In the exit, so this is another cool thing. So, I'm trying to find the signs and find out where everything is. So I spent like tons of time driving around. And one of the things that really fucking threw me off was when Brian is driving in reverse, you get a nice shot of the signs, okay?
Yep.
It says, like, Miami-Dade Community College, Northwest 119th Street, Northwest 37th Avenue, and then it says Little Haiti Exit. But I think that's fully CGI'd into the movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you're like if you saw that part of the movie.
Right now.
Yeah, if you get to that part of the movie where like right as Brian's driving backwards, like flipping Roman off, like you could see the signs above him, and the Little Haiti one looks like it's just like completely CGI'd.
Because the other thing that's sort of confusing is that in that area wherever they are, they're listening to Sean Paul, and so he's Jamaican, and so it's just like,
and he says "bombaclat" like a Jamaican, like one of them does, like. But they're in Little Havana and supposed to be in Little Haiti.
I think to a certain extent, it's just like, yeah, all brown people are the same.
Yeah, I know, but come on. Like, it's fucking... Yeah. So, yes, I think those guys are Jamaican. Like, so the cool thing is like, that... I found exactly where that guy is on the map.
Like at the convenience store?
Yeah. It is it's called something else though, but it is essentially like a bodega. It's called Bravo Food Mart. From Google Maps, the mural that was on the sides of it isn't there anymore, but like I paused it like right where you see him come out of the store. There's like the church across the street. You see down the street where the guys are sitting when they go by, but you're essentially like right where they are. As the cars drive up and through that intersection, that's where the guy is.
Okay, I just looked at the minute, and the font looks different on the Little Haiti exit, so it could be. But I'm guessing just based on the fact that it doesn't look terrible. It just looks like a different font. That this is probably real. I don't know that actually makes any sense, and if what you found does not align, it might be fake. But it's not crazy to have two different fonts, especially like if the signs are different ages. And I just think that given where special effects are at this time, I don't think that they would have made it look this sort of plausible.
So the other thing is that both of those signs are pointing to the same exit, and one says Northwest 37th Street and the other one says Little Haiti, but it's to the same exit and there's one exit there. That's another reason why I thought that it was like they just fully added this fucking sign in.
Right.
They could have put a sign up. The sign could be CGI'd. I don't know. It could have been there. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyways, I found the exit Northwest 37th Avenue that Brian takes, like based on the movie, and I was like, okay, cool, but like this is the sign for it. Obviously, the signs have changed. We're 20 years away from this movie now at this point, and I'm like, I wonder if this really is the same exit. So I keep driving down the thing, like after I found this exit, It's really fucking hard to find exits on Google Maps, by the way. I just want you to know that. Like,
Okay.
you can't just be like, this exit. Like, you have to find where the street is. Because, like, Google Maps won't point you to, like, the exit sign of a
Right.
exit. And even if you, like, search for the exit, like, it doesn't find that either. So you have to, like, find out what the exit sign says, find
Sure.
that street, connect to the thing, then go back down the highway to find where the sign is. Found the exit. If you look in the document, though, so there's like a part where they're like coming off the thing, and I was like, is this the same exit that they're taking? Because they could have obviously been taking any exit. It doesn't really
Right.
matter. It just like the sign says that one. And it looks like these like trees, like right in front, there's like a couple of these like really tall, like Christmas tree looking guys.
Well, I think they're probably palm trees.
No. Not the one right in front, in the background. In like the you see those couple
The
tall,
sort of the tall Charlie Brown looking Christmas trees.
yes, really, really like kind of wiped. Yes, those Christmas trees. There's a shot of them driving down the exit in the movie, and those trees are also in the background.
Well, so the thing to keep in mind, and I love this detective work. Thank you
Okay.
for your service. But we're 20 years difference, and those trees are probably 20 years old. So, like, they would have been saplings.
But I don't know that. And the thing is, like, they look very, very similar, and they're the exact same pattern. There's about the same amount of them.
Maybe
and
every 20 years they cut them down and replace them.
They do. And the other thing is, like, these are weird because these look like Charlie Brown Christmas trees, where everything else is palm trees, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a weirdly distinct tree there. Like, all signs lead to say that they actually did take this exit and the cars drove by there. So I think that that's exactly where it is in the trees. There is no, what did you call them? The water barrels?
The impact attenuators.
There is no impact attenuators at the beginning of that exit, though.
Anything else of note in this minute?
No, that was it. I got some good landmarks in this one, so I was proud of myself. Better
Cool.
than, yeah, because it's like, it's fucking hard, and you have to drive up and down Miami all the time, so.
I was disappointed. I mean, it shouldn't come as a surprise when, like, the movie doesn't care about the other racers in the race,
No,
but
not at
none
all.
of the 7 people we see in this, the 4 dudes sitting outside, the 2 people outside the bodega, or
Nope.
the confused man, none of them are even listed on IMDb. Like, they're all just, like, extras or whatever.
Yep.
But it's not even, like, man in street or whatever, right? So
It
I
totally
wanted
doesn't
to be
care,
like,
yeah.
I'd be like, oh, this guy was also in, like, whatever, right? But no, I don't
Law and
I got nothing.
Order, CSI Miami, whatever it is, yeah.
Yes.
But the guy that crosses the middle of the street is like very awesome. Like he has like a very, very awesome, distinct, like
Yep.
Miami Jamaican kind of look to him that like you could see him being in the background of other movies.
Also firmly early 2000s because he's wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and it basically goes down to his ankles and wrists, right?
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
just like,
Yeah, exactly.
The only other thing I want to mention is that the Sean Paul song "Deport Them," so
Wow.
timely, whatever. I mean, it's Sean Paul, so I'm sure it's about, I don't know, who knows? I don't want to guess. I didn't look up the lyrics.
I
That's
didn't look
the
up
song
the
that's
lyrics.
playing.
I've never heard it before, yeah.
The only we can go somewhere else, but the only idea that I had for a trivia question is when Rhino Roman raced through Little Havana or Little Haiti or whatever you want to call it, what color shirt is the man they speed by in the street wearing? Which
I
is
like
red.
this because I see that man and his red shirt so distinctly.
Yeah,
in
that's
my
what I thought.
head. I think it's very fair. What else are we gonna ask, right? Like it's actually more nitpicky to ask some of the other stuff we talked about. So I think that's a fair question, and it like stops on them. Your brain remembers that part for
Yes.
sure.
So give me 3 other colors that it could be. So clearly
Yellow, green, orange for like University of Miami, right? Oh, green and orange. I like that.
red. Yeah, why not? Because I think if it's
White-
orange, like that gets into
white-
the
Not black. I feel like white
okay.
would be a little bit better because it's like I think your brain reverts to white.
Yeah, because I feel like if it's orange, like it's clearly red, but it's also like, well, I guess orange is not, because it's kind of like, what color is the cup in Cha Cha Cha? It's like, oh, god damn it. Like, is that yellow or is that cream? I can't tell.
Yes, exactly.
When Brian and Roman race through Little Haiti, what color shirt is the man wearing that they speed by in the street? Green and orange? No. Red? Yes. White? No. Yellow? Yes. Minute 33, the Brian O'Connor School of Driving.
I'm going to pitch this. This is going to be one of the first ones in a while that I pitched to my friends.
Yeah, because it's one that, yeah,
They're going to remember,
visually
but
striking, right?
yeah, because, they weren't, like, as deep on.
I think they're just cowardly. I think they got their ass kicked by the first movie. They're like, I don't really know the second movie.
No, I haven't even been sending them to them because they, like, aren't as into the second one as they are the first one. So I'm curious to see their answer.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's take a break. Let's come back and talk about Baby Driver.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 207, Baby Driver. This episode is brought to you by Jacob's Audiology, that has established a high level of trust by serving their patients with integrity, professional skill, advanced technology, and most of all, personalized care. Shout out to Jacob's Audiology.
Well, shout out to Jacob's. Welcome back. So, Baby Driver, Edgar Wright's, I was going to guess a number film, at least fifth really popular film. Because he did the Cornetto trilogy, and he did Scott Pilgrim, and now he does this, and then he also has the Sparks documentary that came out, Sparks Brothers documentary, and now Last Night in Soho. So, internet favorite, letterbox darling, Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. Had you seen this movie before?
Yes, but I have not seen it. I remember Rachel and I had seen it in theaters. We really enjoyed it.
Yep.
I remember talking to you about it. I think it came out since we started doing this, right?
It came out, no, before this. It came out, we started at the end of 2017, and this came out sometime, because I remember that I think I had this 4K disc, like when I got my 4K player at the end of 2017. So this came out, I think, like spring 17, but the same year that we started the podcast.
Okay, I feel like I remember seeing it, talking to you about it, you saying see it in theaters. We went to go see it, we loved it, but we haven't seen it since. I just remember the feeling that I was like, this is really awesome.
Okay.
I remembered the beginning, like the opening,
Yep.
But not much else beyond that.
So if you want to watch this, there's nowhere like free. It's on Fubo, which is like a YouTube TV, Hulu Live TV, whatever. It's also on FX now if you have FX. But yeah, and what's this one? Oh, Spectrum. If you have Spectrum, it's on there too. But yeah, for as popular as this is, I thought this would have been somewhere, but I guess not. I guess that's just what it is. But I own the 4K, whatever. Just want to make it easier for you guys, but I'm sorry. Do a little bit of work. It's worth it if you haven't seen it. I love this movie. This is, I think they were calling it like there's a term. I don't remember. It was like postmodern musical. Like it's a musical, but they don't sing. Like it's all just like action scenes scored and set to music, right?
What do you mean? It's
like the music plays a key role in the movie. It's just not a musical like La La Land is.
Yeah, I don't know what the word for that is. I've never really thought about. If you describe that, I know what you're saying, but I don't know if it has an actual like specific word.
There was an IMDb trivia about this. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on, because I deleted it because I was like, all right. Director of photography Bill Pope called the movie a postmodern musical, stating that there's, quote, not singing and dancing in the street, but the world acts to music, which, yeah.
Okay, I guess maybe a musical is the word then.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of movies where music is important and dancing and singing or whatever, but, like, everything, like, all the action, all the gunshots, all of the driving sequences, everything is in line, in beat, in time with the music.
Yes, it is lined up very, very well.
And, like, the bell-bottom song at the beginning, the tequila song in the middle, like, there's stuff that's just breathtakingly amazing, that just very, like, that you've seen done maybe elsewhere, but it's just, like, not as well as this, right?
And not as wholeheartedly, in the sense that, like,
right.
It doesn't cover, like, giant swaths of the movie, like, just over and over, so...
Yes. To the point where when they sent the scripts out to the actors, I think even before they were cast, like they're just like, hey, we want you in the part or whatever, they included iPods with like, here, at this time, play this song. So you like get into the mood of the scene that you're reading or whatever. Like it's
cool.
that
It's a cool thing. Yeah, I
core.
dig that.
Before we go any further, let's talk about just the elephant in the room. Kevin Spacey canceled doing heinous shit with underage boys.
Yep.
And then I looked up because I knew that Ansel Elgort, who plays Baby, had been
Got in
canceled
trouble.
on Twitter.
Yep.
In June of last year, a woman said she was sexually assaulted by Ansel Elgort when she was 17 and he was 20, and he just said that it was consensual, brief, and legal. So, like, they had a relationship, but, like, so they had, he said that they had sex or whatever, but it was all brief, legal, and entirely consensual. So...
I asked Rachel because I didn't remember, and she said he was creepy to girls, and I said,
yeah.
Good enough for me. I vaguely remembered him. Never mind. I'm not even gonna speculate.
No, because like it's the same kind of thing where it's like a lot of people, like, it's the same reason, like, we stopped doing the Ben Affleck podcast. We did one episode, and then, like, there were 3 people that came out and were just like, hey, he was kind of creepy, and then, like, it all kind of went away. Like, he, like, kind of disputed, too. Like, he's like, no, this wasn't, and, like, I don't know. It's just the whole thing where, like, just be a good person. Stop consent matter. It's just, whatever. But I just want to make sure, we talked about it last week, it's out there, right?
Yep,
It's just,
yeah.
There's some cool trivia. I said there's like 160 things of trivia. I cut it down a lot because I'm just like, there's too much cool stuff. But here's some cool things. So in terms of casting. So Ansel Elgort, who plays Baby, beat Logan Lerman. He's like the Percy Jackson movies. He also did The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which Brian covered. That's, I think, Island's favorite movie.
Okay.
And he also beat out John Boyega, who plays Finn in Star Wars.
Okay.
Robert Rodriguez, our boy from Past Laps, suggested Isaac Gonzalez for the role of Darling. Isaac Gonzalez, the big Fast and Furious crossover, Madam M from Hobbs and Shaw in this movie.
Yes, she is.
Your boy, Michael Douglas, was considered for the role of Doc.
Oh, that would have been
role.
It would have been really good.
Yeah.
I would have liked that a lot. Although, bad things.
Spacey's good in the role. Yeah.
He's good in the role. I think he's a good actor, but bad things. So, yes.
There's a lot of trivia about like how people like Edgar Wright was like giddy to work with Spacey, because this is obviously pre-cancellation.
Yeah.
He was giddy to work with Spacey. Jamie Foxx like would stick around
was
to
House
like
of
watch
Cards
him
already
act.
out? Yes, it had to have been, right?
Oh yeah, no, that came out in like 2012 or something. That started like way earlier.
Yeah, so like he's riding his like revival at this point too. So
yeah, because Spacey would get canceled like shortly after this movie comes out. So like even like but like whatever, it was all marred after the fact.
Yep.
So Edgar Wright, who did this movie, originally was brought on to do the first Ant-Man movie, eventually left over creative differences, like because he couldn't make a movie the way he wanted. Marvel was like, you have to do the Marvel way or whatever. But like Michael Douglas apparently is in Ant-Man because Edgar Wright's like, I want you in this movie, and so we got him in that or whatever. So
and then he left and he still stayed in Ant-Man.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
So Lily James plays Deborah.
Yes.
And she is basically the reincarnation of my all-time mega crush, early 90s Madchen Amick, which you might know from my avatar on a movie site that we run the film club on.
Yes.
And she plays Shelley Johnson on Twin Peaks. But recently, it was found out that Anya Taylor-Joy auditioned for, I'm assuming, that role, maybe?
It has to be that role, right? They can't imagine it's something else.
It's not Isa, and there's really no other, like, woman of note. Because this is well after The Witch, right? So, like, she's already, like, she's known, right? And it's after Split and whatever. They wanted Emma Stone to play Deborah, your girl Emma Stone, but she dropped out to make La La Land, which worked out for that.
I mean, did it?
I think so.
Academy Award-wise, but like...
I think that's a better fit for her than this movie.
It's much better fit. It's absolutely a better fit. I agree.
And then also Chloe Grace Moretz, hit girl from Kick-Ass, and she's been in a ton of things. She was attached but dropped out to do the Little Mermaid reboot a couple years ago. So that's all the casting.
They had your fantasy of Manic Pixie Dream Girls lined up for this role, huh?
I know. Yeah, I'm sort of indifferent to Chloe Grace Moretz, but yeah, like I think really Lily James, like I fell in love with because of this movie, and I just like Emma Stone from a bunch of other things, but I think that Lily James is the right pick for this.
It's great.
So there's a bunch of like car and production stuff. So a lot of this was shot during the day because they wanted, quote, an extra air of collision tension. I guess like seeing more cars makes it feel like they're going to crash into more cars, I guess.
During the day, but not like on live streets and stuff. Like
No.
They just meant like it being bright is not like headlights coming at you. Like you see the full dimension of a car. Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense.
I think so. There is no CGI. This is all practically driven cars. And both Ansel Elgort and John Hamm had like a month of driving training. So like I don't know that they're doing all this stuff, but like either them or stunt drivers or whatever, nothing here is apparently computer generated or computer aided or whatever. It's all
That's
just
very
like
cool.
People actually behind the wheels, which is cool.
The crashes look very, very real. Like all the bumpers falling off and like hitting things. It looks very, very good.
They used over 150 cars for the movie, which is cool. The red Subaru WRX STI that is at the start of the movie was a car that was given to Ansel Elgort as a wrap gift for his birthday. So like after they were filming Wrapped or whatever, they're like, oh, hey, here's a car. So nice work if
really
you can get
cool.
it. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like they gave him like this crazy Bugatti out of the movie. You know what I mean? Like it's a cool present. It's a cool gift. It's a cool thing to have. And
they modified it in ways that you can find out on IMDb, but I'm just like, I don't personally care about this.
Exactly.
But
yeah, I get
whatever. The foot chase, the studio wanted him to
awesome.
cut, but it is awesome. Like every chase in this movie is awesome, but they wanted him to cut the foot chase, but because they were going over budget, but he's like, pay me less money. I'm not cutting this from the movie. So like they took some of his salary and just shot that foot chase, which,
Edgar Wright?
Yeah.
That's badass.
Right?
To be like, fuck you, take some of my... Give me points on the back end. I'm putting this foot race in this.
The other real car reference sort of thing is that fan favorite Garrett Smith's, one of his favorite movies is The Driver. Walter Hill's The Driver from 1978, and Edgar Wright said that's a huge inspiration. Like, Edgar Wright always does these things where, like, whenever one of his new movies comes out, he's like, hey, here's, like, 10 movies that I loved or whatever. Like, he's big in terms of like, the letterboxd type of things. Like, here's my 1,000 favorite movies or whatever. So, like, he loved The Driver for this, which is a great movie.
Yeah, didn't Garrett talk to us about one of his lists before? Like, he found a movie on one of his lists or something, and
maybe I've mentioned it before. Like The Driver, yes, I don't know. Yeah, we've talked about on here. I think probably in a Patreon episode about The Driver, and like when we do that for some future lap, Garrett will be on because I know that's one of his all-time favorite movies. And yeah, The Driver is a cool movie. Shout out to Wes. There are some Back to the Future references in this movie. That Kevin Spacey plays Doc. John Bernthal plays Griff, who is in part 2, and Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who is in this movie, was in parts 2 and 3 in a very small role. So
wait, Flea was in parts 2 and 3 of...
apparently.
I don't remember him seeing him
there.
Either. But seeing him in this was really funny. My brain was like, is that Flea? And then I was like, maybe it's just somebody that looks like Flea.
Joe, nobody looks like Flea. Like, it just...
I mean, it's one of those things where like you could see a guy that's like, I'm an extra, but I kind of look like Flea. You know, like that's like his thing. But I always remember that there was like somebody said that their kid goes to school in LA and they were in the same school as Flea's kid, and Flea would just like come pick up his like kids from school, and it would be like, oh fuck, Flea is here picking up their kids from this like very nice school.
Yeah, it's always funny to listen to like podcasts with like comedians who are like, you know, known but not like super famous or whatever, talking about like picking their kids up from school, because there's always like at every school there's like a couple famous parents. It's like, oh, is Gwen Stefani picking your kid up today? Like, and not usually, no, but like every once in a while, Gwen Stefani will pick up her kid. Just like, oh yeah, like Gwen Stefani's just like a mom picking up her kid. It's just okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's it always. So I always just like imagine Flea being like waiting outside just to like grab his fucking kids. Like, okay.
And actually, speaking of Flea, there's a lot of musical artists in here in different roles. So Jamie Foxx obviously has been featured in songs. He's musical, at least.
He definitely
and Flea both play thieves. Singer Sky Ferreira plays Baby's mom. I was like, maybe Baby's dad is a singer too, but Baby's dad is an MMA fighter. So, okay, cool, whatever.
That's appropriate casting to have a domestic abuser.
Yeah, man.
He was
not
training
a stereotype,
for this.
But still also not incorrect.
No, I wasn't saying it as a stereotype. I was saying it like, they were like, oh man, we need a guy that knows how to fight a woman.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? But yes, it makes sense.
I don't know if you notice them or recognize them, but when Baby and Deborah go to that really fancy restaurant and Kevin Spacey picks up their check, did you notice who Kevin Spacey is talking to at that restaurant?
Okay, I have a guess. Is it Big Boy from Outkast?
And?
I don't know the other guy, but I thought it was Big Boy from Outkast, but he has a hat on, and I was like, I don't know if it actually is Big Boy from Outkast.
Yeah, so the movie takes place in Atlanta. Obviously, Outkast famously from Atlanta. It was originally, I think it was originally set in Los Angeles, but then like Georgia throws like all sorts of money at film productions, like come film here, come film here, come film here. And so they rewrote it. They did like a lot of like Atlanta local scenes or whatever. But Big Boy, yes, and then also from Run the Jewels, Killer Mike. So
I thought, he's so big, I should have just even guessed Killer Mike, but that makes so much sense. Killer Mike is an awesome dude. Big Boy. One time I was tweeting, bitching that why Andre 3000 was on the Frank Ocean album, Channel Orange, but Big Boy wasn't. And Big Boy just replied like, Dre from Andre, like Andre 3000 didn't want us to be in the same song without it being an Outkast song. And I was like, thanks for explaining that to me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I was like, cool. That's the perfect answer. So I have much love for Big Boy always for answering my dumbass question like, why isn't fucking... Like, yeah, he just found the tweet and was like, yep, that's why I didn't do it. Cool.
Also, never forget that your boy Kanye, just now Ye, name changed to Ye, cut Andre 3000 out of a song on the new album and then took his verse and like made it worse. So
that's such a Kanye thing to do.
Yep. And the other actor of note who is a musician is Paul Williams, who plays the Butcher, who is the guy in the tequila scene. He's a composer. He's also the star of Phantom of the Paradise, but he is like a music guy.
He's the guy in the white suit.
Yeah. Yep.
That makes sense.
And then this is a verbatim IMDb trivia where I'm like, I kind of understand where you're going with this, but like, what the fuck? All the principals in this movie are singers. John Hamm, Ansel Elgort, Jamie Foxx, Kevin Spacey, and Isa Gonzalez are all renowned singers. And I'm like, maybe they can sing, but no one will ever say, oh yeah, John Hamm the singer?
You mean, did you buy that new John Hamm album?
Oh, you hear that new track with Spacey on it?
Yeah, what?
Like, maybe they've all been in, I don't know, they might have been in musicals,
Broadway. Yeah.
Who knows, right? And again, I've said it before on this podcast, I think I'm never surprised when an actor can sing or dance or play a musical instrument because I feel like most of them can.
I agree.
But to call them renowned singers is like a real heavy twist of that phrase.
Technically, they're probably right.
Also, they don't sing in this movie. Like, it doesn't matter. They don't. No, there's no singing in this movie other than like Deborah, like, wandering around kind of singing a little bit, right? Like, it's at the closest thing they get to it, other than her like in the diner, is like baby lip syncing. Like, there's no actual singing.
Well, his mom does like she's like in a recording studio, but yeah, it's not like this is a movie about the use of your voice to sing,
no.
Right?
It's a movie where like what I like about it is that it's a universe in which all the actors, all the characters care about music and talk about music and know music and like it comes up in conversation. Because I feel like there's so many movies that are just like that pop culture does not exist, right? It's just like we don't talk.
Yeah.
Everybody all the time, maybe just our friends, whatever, but like you talk about movies, talk about TV, talk about music, whatever. There's so many movies just like you don't talk about that stuff. But here they're just like, oh, what do you listen to? Like, oh, that,
the Queen
they're just
song.
referencing Barbra Streisand, right? So yeah.
Yes, I agree. I like that. I feel it's weird though because like when you watch a movie, it doesn't feel weird. This feels weird because movies are so agnostic to music. Like they just like music doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Or like they're never referencing pop culture. If they do, it's like a punchline or like they like kind of like are like, come on audience, we're trying to keep you in this,
right?
As opposed to like you're right, when we're sitting around in our friend group, like movies, music, TV, all these things come up all the time, just interplayed in between everything. So it is beautiful for him to be like, what song are you listening to? He's like, that Queen song. Well, he's like, oh, what the fucking great guitar riff, and you're like, yeah, dude, that was it.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Because like I get that it gets weird that if you're like talking about TV in this movie and they're like, oh yeah, you watch Mad Men, it's just like that guy really looks like you. Like, I know you like it gets into a murky sort of territory, but like to have none of it is a weird omission. So I like that this exists in a world.
Yes.
Also, totally unrelated to this, but what I appreciate is that like it doesn't feel like there are any of those movie moments where like the bad guy's like, I have you at gunpoint, but here's my 2.5-minute monologue about why you're a bad guy. Like they all just kind of shoot. Like it's just like, no, like I just right.
That is a good point. Yeah, like Jamie Foxx walks up and is like, blam. Like that's like I'm gonna shoot at you, or like John Hamm is sitting there. Baby just shoots him in the shoulder.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, you're right. It plays like kind of startling. You're right, because there's not like a I'm about to shoot you. It's like just poop. There you go.
Yeah. One of the songs they wanted to use was the next episode by Dr. Dre and Snoop, but it was too expensive to license. So they just went and got The Edge by David McCallum, which the next episode just samples. So they're like, hey, we can't get the songs. Let's just get the original because it's cheaper. So
that's what they did. I thought that they had. Okay, I mean, obviously I know all these songs are sampled, and I'm usually really good with samples, but this one I didn't know the sample of, and I was like, why did they get the stripped-down version of the next episode for this movie? That makes way more sense.
Well, it's also like the House of Pain Jump Around song. They don't get that. They get the original thing that it's sampled, right?
Yes, yes. It makes so
the other
much
thing
sense.
that I think is funny, especially given the time of year, but there's a big joke in this movie that they're supposed to wear the Halloween mask, the Michael Myers killer
Halloween
masks.
Yeah.
Yep. But the dumb thief goes to the store and buys Mike Myers masks.
Mike Myers from Austin Powers. It is a Michael Myers Halloween mask.
So it was originally supposed to be the Halloween masks, but they couldn't get permission to use them. So Edgar Wright reached out to Mike Myers, the comedian, and he's like, that's really funny. Let's do it. But the irony here is that in the original Halloween, they didn't have permission to use that mask. And what it was a William Shatner Captain Kirk mask from Star Trek that they just painted white. So like the original movie, the original Halloween, bootlegs a mask that they don't have permission to use and then refuses the right to use it in this movie. It's like, come on. Like,
yeah, assholes. Come on. Seriously? Yeah.
Oh, also I want to say that Walter Hill, the director of The Driver, which I mentioned before, is the voice of the courtroom interpreter. So, he's kind of sort of in this movie, but yeah.
That's cool. That's very, very cool. Nice.
Anyway, if you want 150 other bits of trivia that are not as good as that, go to IMDb. But Joe, talk about Baby Driver. What did you love? What did you hate? Fast Connections, hit me with it because I just talked for a while.
I really did love this movie. Watching it again, like I said, Rachel was like, oh, I was just thinking about rewatching it, so I'm glad that we got to rewatch it. It was just as enjoyable as the first time. I didn't remember what happened, so it was a fun ride again. And the whole time I'm sitting there watching this, I'm like, this for me feels like what I want the next generation of Fast and the Furious movies to be.
Okay.
In the sense that, like, I want Baby Brian to be this.
Baby Driver Brian.
To be Baby Driver Brian. And that I think that would be a great way to kind of play it, that you could be like, I guess, I don't know, because at this point they're getting old enough and the movies are still going that you can't be like, my parents, they're just dead. You know, like, I'm trying to think about, like, how it would work. But, like, you know, he could be, like, estranged from his family for whatever reason, because they're criminals, get, like, tied up in something, and he has the Toretto genes to drive. So I think that that's a really great vehicle to make these continual movies.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. It was.
I love the idea, like, it's kind of a cliche, but I like that they work it here, that, like, he's really good at a thing that he doesn't really want to do, right? He's a great driver, which is fine, but he's trapped in this life because Kevin Spacey's character bailed him out, and he owes him a bunch of money, and so he has to sort of work against his own actions or whatever to pay him back, right? And I love that element of it. It also, I think I probably said it on here because it's a dumb thing that I would have said, but, like, my goal I might have said on the, we didn't do Drive for this episode. We might have talked about it on Boyfriend Material, but, like, my goal in, like, I think Grand Theft Auto Online was, like, to be, like, the game's best getaway driver. No, I've never played Grand Theft Auto Online. Like, I've never actually,
I didn't
even begin this journey.
Go ahead. Yes, I know this.
But, like, my ideal, like, just because I feel like what Baby is, like, he doesn't do the job. He abets. He aids and abets, right? But I think there's something so cool about, like, being the best at what you do and, like, being better than everybody else at, like, a thing that's very important, but, like, you kind of don't have to get your hands dirty or whatever. I just think it's kind of a cool thing. So that was always my, like, video game dream, was to be the getaway driver that I never actually even began to put into effect.
We just talked about Fate with Nate and the Rocky Maivia Picture Show.
Yep, the Nate of the Furious.
One of the biggest qualm that we had with Fate was that there was no, like, motivation, right? Cypher's character has, like, a lack of motivation. This movie is so good at having the action come, and you're just like, he owes Kevin Spacey. We don't know what for.
Yeah.
He just owes him. We know that he has one last job to, like, pay off his debt to him. It's kind of the same thing as Cypher just being like, I just want accountability, right? Like, it's like, we don't actually know what really is happening, but it's so perfect here to work as, like, as the transition of how they're getting to the action, as opposed to being like, it doesn't feel like a giant hole, is what I'm trying to say.
This movie does not necessarily have, like, really fully fleshed out characters. Like, they're just kind of like thieves with, like, you kind of get a little backstory, but, like, what you're saying, like, that's how easy it is to just establish, like, motivation, right? Just like, he owes him money, he has to be here. Cool. Like, that's all we need.
That's all we needed.
Like, obviously this is a great movie that, like, a lot of people love and whatever, and so it's, like, a really high bar to clear, but when it's as simple as that to, like, establish a thing, it's just like, why doesn't everybody do this? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know either. It works really, really well here, and I'm not a big fan of, like, action movies, or, like, and I get, like, lost in a lot of things, but this is just, it carries me so, it's so simple to follow. You're mainly just watching these people interact.
Yeah.
And the action is happening. But, like, the whole plot of it is just, like, they're doing a crime. It doesn't even fucking matter what the crime is. Like, they don't even need to explain to you that they're trying to steal fucking money order blanks. You know, like, that wouldn't even really matter. They're just like, they're gonna go rob the fucking post office. And you're like, cool. That's because the whole thing is we just want to watch them do it and get away. And it's just awesome. The whole movie is awesome.
It's literally just style over substance, right? Because it's not trying to do anything new other than how it does the thing, which I guess is a really kind of convoluted way to say what I said, but, like, it's just bank robberies, or it's an armored truck robbery, or it's a this robbery, or whatever, right? And, like, the thieves hate each other. It's like, yeah, like, that's every movie, right? Like, that's just what this is, but
and there's, like, and they're criminals, so, like, obviously they're a bunch of shitbags in their own ways.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but you have, like, one guy playing baby face to this, and he's like the guy that, like, is in a shitbag, and you're like, okay, cool, that works for me.
So it's easy to root for him because it's like, he doesn't want to be there, and like the bank robbery, we don't even see the bank robbery. Like, it's kind of like Reservoir Dogs is like, wait, it's Diamond Heist, so we don't even see the heist. It's just the after. But, like, like, we don't see them in the bank. We see them through the window. But, like, it's about the getaway. It's about the drive. It's about the music. It's about everything. Yep. So it seems so easy, but to do it well is difficult. So
I'm sure it's very, very, very hard. I didn't have a ton of notes for this movie, not because I was sucked into it.
Yeah.
So it was a little harder to, point out things. I was just along for the ride this time. But I found it really funny that the coffee place that he goes to is called Octane Coffee.
Yeah.
It's just weird that he goes there after every crime. Like, you don't think that somebody would like Pavlov's dog that like they're like, oh, a bank robbery just happened, like, however, like down the street or whatever, and then you're like, this kid came in and bought coffee.
Yeah, 3 armed robbers and a getaway driver. He's buying 4 coffees. Like,
Yeah, but like you'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, whatever. But like, if he only goes to this coffee shop after
Yeah.
they commit a crime, like, wouldn't one of the coffee shop people be like, what the fuck? Like, I only see you this time. So I was just curious, like, how that didn't become a plot point.
I also, name-wise, his name is Miles. Like, everybody has, like, a nickname, kind of, like, there's Baby, and there's Buddy, and there's Darling,
Yes.
and there's Doc, and whatever, and, they all
Bats.
have, like, his real name is Miles. Like, just, Tails and Sonic, miles per hour, right? Miles per hour, so Miles is a great driver name.
Yes,
So
that is a good driver name. I was just, like, so hung up on Miles Teller, I didn't even put together the Miles and being a driver thing.
also a sort of scummy, semi-canceled actor of this age.
Also, yes, he's right along those lines. That's true.
Did you have a favorite musical number or sequence that was scored to music in this movie?
I mean, I do love all of them. You mentioned it a bunch. It's not, a deep cut or a weird pick, but the tequila one is fucking awesome, right? Like, and then he, the grenade going off and Jamie Foxx going tequila, like, as it explodes is so fucking cool. I really like that. From the beginning to the end, you get that whole scene there. That's probably my favorite. Why? Do you have a different one?
Well, no, it's that one. The bell bottom song that opens the movie is awesome. I like that when they do the Halloween mask heist, he starts the song. He's like, hold on, wait, I got to start the song over again. And then he starts it, and he's like, okay, now you guys can go. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, let me just, but like, it works. Like, that's what Baby does, right? So
Yeah, man. Hey, somebody that's really good at something, you don't ask questions. There was a story. The Penguins were doing really well. They were making a Stanley Cup run. Okay. They were like getting ready for the playoffs or something, and they started winning. Like, they were like on this like streak or whatever. And so one of the equipment managers, like Sidney Crosby, was like, "Hey, what did you do this summer?" And he was like, "Oh, I went to Italy." And he's like, "Did you eat anything good?" And he's like, "Yeah, I had this meal." And they started winning, and Sidney Crosby's so neurotic that every day he would come in and have the same conversation with the guy.
fucking sports guys, man.
Yeah, he would come in and pretend like he had never heard this story before
Jesus.
to
Yeah.
to superstition it, to be like this is my prep now, and you're part of it, and this is what we do. And he's like, yeah, and I had to tell the story like 82 times.
Ay, ay, ay.
Right? That's how it works, man.
Like, it's athletes, but it's also, like I said, it's sports guys, because like, it's people around, like, it's fans, like, I can't wear that, I can't wash the
Superstition.
jersey, right, or whatever. I just watched the episode of Seinfeld, The Calzone, where George Steinbrenner's like, I ate the same thing for lunch every day for 12 years. Like, now I need a calzone. I need a calzone every day from Paisanos. I just need a calzone.
Yeah, what's it called? Paisanos?
Paisanos, yeah. I love that episode. That was a great episode where Kramer's like warming his clothes up in the dryer, and then he runs out of quarters. So he's using ovens. And he puts the pizza oven. It's just got burnt. Just fucking.
Oh, shirt. Oh, yeah, he puts the shirt
Yeah.
in the pizza oven. Is that the same one that George goes to tip, but he takes the $1 out?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's
Because
exactly.
Kramer has to go because George is no longer welcome there after he tries to take the money out to like put it
Well,
in
because
again.
he tipped them,
Yeah.
but they didn't see him tip them, so
Yes.
he takes it out to tip them again in front of them, and they think he's stealing from the tip jar. Beautiful. See, I'm so glad. Thank you for getting on board, man.
What I don't understand about IMDb ratings is that like the Soup Nazi, great episode, right?
Yeah.
But like it has a 9.5. But like I think it's just like in terms of Seinfeld episodes, it's just a funny episode. I think episodes like The Calzone, where there's like again like what we've talked about, where all the stories kind of converge on a thing.
Yeah.
And that's like an 8 or below an 8. And it just feels like that's a more kind of like it's not as known
It's not
as
as
Soup
iconic.
Nazi. But
Yeah.
like the Soup Nazi is just like, yeah, it's just a funny but like this one is just like everybody coming together, and the way that Jerry and George and Elaine and Kramer are all doing their things to come together to like
Yes.
this insanity.
Those make me really, really happy too. I do love when the stories just like full converge and go to chaos. That's a good episode. Wow.
Or like the Wig Master, which I also watched recently, where like Kramer eventually gets dressed like a pimp and walking down the road, but like it's Elaine, the guy that is staying with Elaine's boyfriend or whatever, and Jerry's involved. It's just when it all comes together, it's beautiful.
It is.
Back to this. Did you get a sense? And it's a bit of a stretch, I think, but there was something like a less family-friendly Dom and Letty for Buddy and Darling. like criminals in love with each other whose love for each other sort of supersedes the crime. It's darker and it's more overtly sexual and profane and tatted, but it feels like it's the kind of stereotypes that like Dom and Letty are also playing off, just going a different direction.
Not so much because of how I perceive Dom and Letty's characters. I don't think Dom could play passenger to anything.
Okay.
Like, even when he's like working for Hobbs or working for Mr. Nobody, he's always still the one in control. And Buddy never feels like he's the lead.
Yeah, he's just a guy, right? Like, he doesn't want to be the lead, right?
He's fine playing along. Buddy has more even like Tej energy to me. Like, in the sense that he's like, I'm there, like, I'm smart, I'm important, I definitely pull my own weight, but like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, let's lay this out, this is how this is gonna go. Like, I'll improvise and stuff, but I'm not in charge. So that's where I think I'm kind of like lost on that idea.
I guess I was thinking about their dynamic with each other and nothing beyond that. Because, yeah, in the role of the team, yeah, different thing, different role altogether.
Okay, but even that, like, I don't know, like, the toppest part of this idea that they're like criminals that kind of like exist in love and are criminals, yes, I get. But even that, like, Dom and Letty are never like super horned up all the time, you know?
Right, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's more, well, there is the scene in the first movie, and there's the deleted scene where he picks her up and like they have sex in the garage, right? Like, there's early on, before it got cleaned up, before it became like a family
But even
franchise.
then, it's not like, okay, I think that there's a difference, and I have this like feeling a lot that there's like a difference between being like, you really love your partner, and then being like, I'm gonna make out in public, and those are like two completely separate things in my head. So like, I don't think at any point Dom and Letty are like making out. Like, even she's like, give me a massage upstairs, and they like go upstairs, right? And like, you get what's gonna happen, but like, they're not like, let's make out in the living room in front of everyone.
By the way, I think the I smell skanks thing is now a TikTok trend, I think.
Really?
Like, lip syncing to that scene, yeah.
Oh.
Interesting, right?
Very interesting.
I don't know why, because it's a 20-year-old movie that does not feel like it jives with the TikTok crowd, but also the mountain, like, again, what I mentioned in the intro, the Mountain Goat song No Children is also now a TikTok song, so who knows? I don't know how things go. It's weird.
Yeah, TikTok is on its own wavelength, man.
There is a pretty big but also very small Fast and Furious crossover that after Baby thinks he quits the criminal life, he gets a job as a pizza boy. So I was thinking roads closed, pizza boy.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's a good one.
I mean, it's not really a Fast and Furious thing, but there's just pizza boys in a couple of the movies, right?
Yeah. That also plays into the thing, like I was saying, like I could see like Brian and Dom's children being like, we're like the best pizza boys in Southern California or, you know, Miami.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we need a driver that is as good as that pizza boy.
And I think my only other note that I had in terms of Fast and Furious stuff was that at the end, so when Baby goes, like, they had the one job that doesn't really go right? And then he and Deborah go to pick up the tapes that they stole, blah, 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 whatever. John Hamm shows up in the cop car. Baby, like, does this, like, sort of, like, running sprint jump over the cop car. And I'm like, I've kind of seen that in other movies. I think it's done maybe better here, but, like, we haven't really seen people, like, run over cars. Because it feels like, in the Fast and Furious, it's never the family against cars. It's a family in a car against cars. But they're never, like, against cars unless they're in a car, right? Or am I thinking, or am I forgetting something?
No, because, like, now that you brought that up, the only time I'm thinking that, yeah, they're always, like, in a car. And the only time that, like, it kind of goes around that is, like, the handoff of Ramsey, right? Like, the passing Ramsey around.
Yeah, but, like, it's not like she's squaring down with a car.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Also, now that you brought that up, like, we don't see feats of athleticism from the family ever.
Unless it's Dom jumping to catch Letty.
Yeah, but that was more of a like a mother's strength to lift the car off her child than like, I'm just gonna run and jump over this car because I'm a spry young boy, you know?
But it feels like they should. Like, we have talked many times about how they are all super spies and super athletic and good at everything. So like,
and they're all
they could jump over cars. They're just not.
Yeah, I guess. Well, we do see Dom like lift the car while Brian's under it in 7. That kind of makes sense.
Well, again, that's mother strength. Brian jumps out of the falling bus to be caught by Letty at the end of 6 or 7.
That's
7
as close
probably.
as we get. I think that's as close as we get. Like the running up the bus, jump the
that's
grab
in 7
the
too.
wing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably as close. So, yeah, I guess. Well, without Brian would be the guy to do it.
Yeah.
And we have the parkour stuff. We have the
oh, yeah, the David Park chase. Yeah, at the beginning of 4.
Yeah.
But it's not against a car though. Like it's him.
Yeah.
It's foot chase.
It is. It's just foot chase,
I don't
not over a car. That's like, yeah. I would like to. You've seen Kobe do it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's just wild. That's just such a fucking crazy talent that you could do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Also ballsy. Like the car's coming fucking at you. You know.
Yeah.
Like.
Yes. Oh, actually, one other note that I have is John Bernthal, who is back from Ford v Ferrari. I mean, he's been in everything. He's the Punisher. He's in Wolf of Wall Street. He's in The Walking Dead. He's an awesome actor in Fury. Boiler Room. Wait, is he?
Is he? No, I always put him in Boiler Room. Is it that's what happens?
Yeah, no, he's too young to be in Boiler Room.
I always put him.
No, maybe not.
Is he?
No, he's not in Boiler Room. He started acting after Boiler Room came out.
Okay, yeah, I always put him in Boiler Room. Yeah,
he's definitely a Boiler Room kind of guy.
Oh, We Are Your Friends. He's in We Are Your Friends.
He is. He's also Johnny Soprano in The Many Saints of Newark, the new Sopranos movie.
Oh, cool.
Was very cool and very funny because he's like in the very featured in the credits. He's in the opening, heist. It's him and John Hamm and Isaac Gonzalez. And after that heist goes swimmingly and they all walk away, he's like, if you don't see me again, that's because I'm dead. And we never see him again. And it's just very funny because, he probably died in another heist or just whatever.
He and Jamie Foxx are great, and I wish that they would have been like, they're not really in a heist that overlaps, right?
Well, I think it's also, because like Spacey, like Doc is like trying to assemble crews because it feels like he's got like a whole like board. He's just like, okay, I got these 40 guys, I got 4 drivers, maybe he's the best. We got a couple of backup drivers.
We need a
we
killer
got the
guy.
Gunmen. We got the wild card guys or whatever, right? And like, I don't think you mash up Bernthal and Jamie Foxx. It's like, oh god,
they're the same
guy.
Yeah. In this crew.
But the Jamie Foxx line, what I love is that they're at the diner toward the end, and he talks to John Hamm. He says, "You rob to support a drug habit. I do drugs to support a robbery habit," which doesn't really make sense, but also
it makes perfect sense.
Is a great line.
It makes perfect sense. He's like, I do drugs to fight my demons. You do crimes to get your drugs. Like it makes perfect sense to me. It's That's awesome. I agree. I think that's an awesome ass line.
Any other thoughts about Baby Driver? Do you want to watch a trailer?
Isaac Gonzalez's name is Monica. Her real name.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so that was a little thing.
Do you think that there's a darker future for Madame M? Because she's obviously running shit in Russia in Hobbs and Shaw. Because she, spoiler, dies in, like almost everybody dies in this movie, right? Except for Baby and Darling. Baby and Deborah. But like, so it can't be like this is like what she did before, because like it feels like she could have come from a criminal background or whatever. But
you're trying to bridge these two movies together and say Madame M is Darling.
I mean,
but she's dead.
Sure, yes, but it have to be like this has to happen after Hobbs and Shaw, right? If that's because it can't happen before because she's dead.
Yeah. Well, we didn't see the body, dude.
We kind of see the body.
But it was a hologram that Mr. Nobody put on the ground and was like, yeah, that was the perfect way to get her out of John Hamm's arms. Hey,
man. Oh, you mean noted singer John Hamm?
Yeah.
Renowned singer?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there was one part that I just liked. It's mildly related to us, but Jamie Foxx says something and he's just like, not groovy, and I just kept thinking of like the Bruce Lee, like, more space to groove,
more room to groove.
Yeah.
All right, you want to watch a trailer?
Yeah, let me pull it up. I didn't have.
So here I had to call a little bit of an audible because there is our favorite movie clips, classic trailers, but the trailer that I have in my head that played before like every movie forever was the one that Sony Pictures Entertainment put up there. There's also a Tequila trailer, but this one, I think when you hear it, at least the beginning, because the beginning starts with a piano, and I'm like, this is the one that I remember.
Okay. I'm up and ready whenever you are.
Cool. So this is Baby Driver official internet. I don't know that anybody watches along with us. That would be weird and cool, like very cool and kind of flattering, but like I'm still going to do it. But Baby Driver official international trailer HD posted in March 2017. 10.3 million views. The top comment says, I don't know, looks like a generic heist movie to me. Quote, from Edgar Wright. Okay, I'm in. So, yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? All right, 3, 2, 1, play.
Shop. Let's talk it. The target is an armored
We didn't talk at all about tinnitus.
No, and apparently Barbara Streisand also has tinnitus, which is why they bring it up in the movie. Like, that was an inspiration, kind of, so. Like, do you remember this trailer with this song in the trailer or no?
Probably.
Baby.
The target is an armored truck at Perimeter Trust in Dunwoody, 10 a.m. sharp. The switch car is ready, but you want me to hit the
I think I
long
do
state
remember
parking
this.
structure and get
Oh,
time
one
to
other thing
the
that was
long
cool
state
is that,
parking
you know,
lot.
like Baby has all these
Ready
different
for
pairs of
delivery.
sunglasses, all these different iPods. Like, they all came from the cars that he stole. Like, he just, like, takes those.
Oh,
Which
that
is, like, a
makes
cool,
sense.
very minor little backstory, right? But, like, very
Yes.
cool, very smart.
You're the best in the
That
business.
makes sense.
Also, I want to know, like, this, I love the e-brake, the spin, and then the reverse spin.
Oh, yeah.
Is so cool.
So
and also, when they're doing the getaway and he slams, like, he sees the other two red cars, which, again, my brain, red cars, slams brakes on the one, like, repositions himself, and they, like, he gets away that way. Like, it's just so cool.
Genius. Yep.
And that's, like, Driver in Drive, like Gosling in Drive. It's just, how do
Yeah.
I, like, just blend into the Clippers getaway traffic, right? So.
Exactly.
B-A-B-Y, baby.
In this business, the moment you catch feelings,
Oh, laundromat
the
scene.
moment you catch a bullet.
I tweeted that gift today of their heels tapping. Like, it's so cool.
It is.
Your waitress girlfriend, she's cute.
The whole soundtrack and score of this movie is
Yeah.
fucking awesome. Like, the songs that they picked, too, are great songs.
Yeah, like, I think we kind of danced around it, no pun intended, but the Brighton Rock song by Queen is awesome, and, like, it's used well, and like, what is weird, like, about that comment I said, like, it kind of looks like a good movie. It doesn't look like a movie you have to see, but, like, this doesn't, I don't think this sells the, like, coolness of the movie, right?
It's selling a lot of the... It really feels like it's underplaying the driving somehow, even though there's
Yeah.
still a ton of it. Like, it's not selling the chase scenes as hard as they should. I
A little bit of parkour.
don't know. Yeah, the parkour stuff was cool, too.
There's
There
that
you
scene
go.
I was just talking about. Yep.
Get out of the car!
Oh, my purse!
I'm sorry, ma'am.
So, yeah, so, like,
She got the fuck, too, that's right.
very Dom Toretto at the end of Fast and Furious #4, where he gets sentenced to 25 years in prison. I mean, Dom gets life, but so here's the question, because I think it's open to interpretation, and both Ansel Elgort and Lily James have different interpretations of the ending. Do you think them reuniting on the bridge actually happens, or is that in his brain? There's no wrong answer, right? Like, it's just...
Yeah, I'm trying to... Reuniting on the bridge? I thought that he sees her when she gets out of
Or
the...
no, not at the bridge. Sorry, at the
Yeah.
outside the prison. So, like, what happens is that he's on the bridge. He gets arrested. 25 years, probation after 5, parole after 5, or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Then we get, and they basically look the same age, and she picks him up outside of prison, and they embrace, and that's the end of the movie. And so,
But he does
I
have
guess
the postcards for sure. So that's a real thing. I do honestly think that it's probably more of his motivation to get through every day. The postcards, because at one point, like, he flips a postcard over, it's blank on the back.
yeah,
Like, she just sent him a stack of blank postcards in an envelope, so he could be getting those from anywhere, you know? Like, but yeah, I think it's more of him just motivating himself, saying, like, she'll be on the outside for me. Like, whether or not she is there doesn't even matter. It's more...
So
of
you think it
that.
doesn't happen? That's just his, like, that's how he gets through the day-to-day in prison.
I can see it happening, but I don't think that it's actually like, I could definitely more so believe that he's just like, when I get out, I'm gonna see this girl, and like, she's still gonna love me, and she's just been waiting for me, and she writes me letters, and like, if that's what you need to tell yourself to get through this, like, go for it. But
Sure, yeah, because apparently Lily James thinks it actually happened, so I guess it's the romantic in her, and Ansel Elgort says, no, it probably didn't happen, it's just in his head, so, you know.
okay, I could definitely, because like, dude, you're staring down 25 years. Like, he's behaving. Sure, he might get out in 5, but like, you're still staring down 25 years. So like, you need something to be like, I'm not gonna kill myself in this prison. Like, I need to make it through here. So
All right, the Letterboxd game. For reference sake, Mad Max Fury Road, one of the most popular films in Letterboxd, has been seen by 915,000 people. Baby Driver from 2017, directed by Edgar Wright, starring Ansel Elgort, Kevin Spacey, Lily James, John Hamm, Jamie Foxx, Isaac Gonzalez, John Bernthal, Flea, blah, 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 has been seen by how many people?
350,000.
You are way too low, and I'm going to give you one major hint. I think you can guess this.
870,000.
No, still too low. I think you can guess this. Is a very big hint.
1 million.
I think it crossed 1 million today.
Oh, really? Just like, and it's just 1 mil?
So when I logged it earlier, it had 1,445,000 or something. Now it has 1,991,000. So like in 12 hours, it went up like 500 people. So I think either yesterday or today, Baby Driver crossed 1 million people seen it on Letterboxd.
Are those unique Cs or times logged? I forget if we talked about this before.
I don't know.
I think those have to be logs, right?
It says watched by 1 million members.
If it says watched by 1 million members, that means like unique logs.
I would think.
Me. Also, because otherwise the Marvel ones would be like 70 bajillion, because people would be like, I fucking love Ant-Man, and just like...
Yeah, I guess the fact that the upper limit, right, is like 1.3 and not like 5 or whatever. That there's little variation at the top end of the scale proves that point, right? That I think you're right.
That's what I think so, too.
So average rating of 3.8, most common a 4, then a 3, then a 3.5, then a 5, then a 4.5. How many people have this in their top 4? And once again, I will say, you can guess this number.
10,000.
10,000.
Okay, perfect.
Just nice round numbers, because when it's that high, it does not break down any less.
Exactly.
So I looked at this list today. I looked at 10,000. I'm just like, I'm not going to do this. I looked for my friends, and they didn't. So I just found, I clicked on 3 people. The first one was just decent. I'm like, yep, we're doing this one.
Perfect.
So we're doing Kim 712 AM on Letterboxd. I don't understand her review. Maybe you can help me.
Okay.
She says, "Oh wig?" Question mark. O space WIG. Oh wig?
That's it?
That's it. 5 stars.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Kim says, "I'm not really a film hoe." Her words. Just want to keep track of what I'm watching. I probably have horrible taste.
Maybe she's saying she lost her wig in her excitement of watching the movie, or surprise.
Oh wig? It's like people saying "oh word," but "oh wig"? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so Baby Driver is her 3rd favorite movie of all time. Her first favorite movie is probably the most popular film on Letterboxd.
Parasite.
You got it. 1.32 million people have seen Parasite.
Okay.
Her number 2 is a movie that is not an action movie, but feels like this movie in ways. It's also, it's driven by, not a pun intended, no car thing, driven by what propels this movie as well. And a movie you love, that we've had in the top 4 before.
Is it a Tarantino movie?
No.
We've had it in the top 4. I love the movie.
Yep.
It's propelled by owing somebody something.
No,
Okay.
more basic than that. Not narratively. Although it is tied in the narrative of this one. What literally pushes Baby Driver forward?
Music?
Music. What other movie is propelled by music? Although not soundtrack.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I can see where you're going, but that's not where we're going.
Okay.
A movie about music.
Um,
Recent. Came out in the last 10 years.
Sound of Metal.
No, but very
Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Okay, good job.
And then Kim's 4th favorite movie is a movie that I love that I think you probably saw. I don't know. Comedy from a couple years ago.
Okay.
Is there any way that I can tie this into Too Fast? I don't know that any of these, there's big actors in this. It's comedy from a couple years ago. Big actors in this. I don't know that any of them have really been in movies we've covered unless I'm forgetting things.
Game Night.
Game Night.
Was it right?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
There haven't been a lot of great, just pure comedies in the last, decade or so. But yeah, Game Night.
Wow. I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah, she's kind of got basic bitch taste, but also good movies, right? Parasite, Whiplash, Baby Driver, Game Night.
You are a movie hoe. Is that what she said? What was she?
She says,
I'm not really a movie hoe. Isn't that what?
Not really a film hoe. Just want to keep track of what I'm watching.
Kim, you are.
You are.
Yeah, not bad taste actually. We've seen a lot worse, Kim. Trust me, we've definitely seen a lot worse. That was pretty decent.
If Kim's not a film hoe, I don't think Kim is a podcast hoe either. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you, Kim, at 0712 AM on Letterboxd. Joe, next week we got a movie we have not seen in a while. We got F9.
Okay.
Whew. And then we got our tune-up.
Rachel might murder us at this point. She's.
I'm not ready to watch it again. I'm not ready to watch another 2.5 hour Fast and Furious movie. Again, this is not us breaking. This is not us,
definitely not.
The end of the podcast or anything. It's just
it was just a lot at one time.
This one in particular.
Many times.
Many
times. It's very long. And we did it a lot this lap. We've watched it quite a few times in the past month
Since
and a
it
half,
came out
two
4 months ago.
Yeah, 4
Yep.
months. I've seen it many a times. Yes.
So next week, F9.
Okay.
And then our tune-up, and then we kick off lap 10, which we will announce the theme of on the tune-up. But if you're a patron at toofast2forever.com, you already know. And if you're a $10 a month patron, you get a pick this year and also one next year. So go do that thing. But Joe, any other thoughts about Baby Driver before we hang up?
If you haven't seen it,
and
go
literally?
see it. Baby
Yeah.
Driver is awesome. I mean, minus the cancelings, the movie's great, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that have been canceled. I don't know. Everybody's terrible. Just like put in your head that like every actor is terrible and like
Don't get your hopes up on people. That's what I always think.
true.
Like if you don't like, and also like if you don't like put people on a pedestal and like think that they're good or like praise celebrities and stuff like that. Like I love Kanye. He is a fucking madman, and
Yep.
like okay, that's just how it goes sometimes. Like it didn't hurt my feelings that he's crazy. So
Don't idolize celebrities.
don't
and watch
idolize
Baby Driver.
Yeah, exactly. Those are my take-home points.
And don't put Baby Driver in the corner. For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFast2Forever, or at TooFast2Forever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFast2Forever.com. Our store at TooFast2Forever.shop. Come back next week for a movie you might have seen, F9, and then our tune-up to end lap 9 the week after that. I'm Joey Lewandowski,
I'm Joe too.
and we'll tell you all about it.
See you again.